guys, it's Courtney Phillips, Miss Virginia for America, and I am coming to you with my very first video interview, and I'm really excited. I have TIffany Rogers, Mrs. Virginia 2020. Thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Courtney. How's it going?
It's great. I wanted to start out my year as Miss Virginia talking to our current title holders and some of our title holders, our local title holders from this last year, sharing some of our stories about what it's like to participate in this amazing program. And so I just kind of thought that you and I could kind of share some of our experience the pageant this month. So I don't know, maybe we could just kind of, I was hoping maybe you could talk to me a little bit about pageant weekend and what it was like for you.
Right. It was amazing. I just had the best time. For one, the girls that enroll in Mrs. Virginia, they are just really beautiful inside and out. Everybody has their own purpose and their own story, and it's really fun getting to know the women. And it was only my second pageant, this Miss Virginia 2020. And I've only ever competed in the Mrs. Virginia system, so it's kind of all I know. But I know that Darla is an amazing director. She bends over backwards for her girls, and she's just like truly a gem. So it's great, you know, being under her guidance and having her as our mentor, which you know.
Yeah, absolutely love Darla. Pageant weekend is just kind of like a sprint. I don't know how many of you who are watching this have competed in pageants before, or if you're just kind of interested as, oh, hi. If you
have a fellow down here.
If you don't know much about TIffany, she has 4 little ones that she keeps going, and an amazing husband, and she has her own nonprofit that she's running. She's kind of our rock star.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're my rock star. You're like the social media guru in my eyes.
So what, did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
There we go.
So what a lot of people don't know and might have picked up on from some of our social media posts is TIffany and I are best friends long before me competing in the Miss Virginia system. From advocating for mental health and this is Run With Your Life. And we have like befriended each other through that and kind of
hold on 1 second. I'm gonna let him inside for a minute. Come on. Sorry, Courtney, our power is out right now, so there's no cool place inside or out. Everybody's kind of just winging it here.
No worries. I'll probably trim it. Okay, I'm gonna start back up.
Okay.
TIffany and I met Runway to Life as we were advocating for mental health and suicide prevention a couple of years ago, and we befriended each other and have actually helped each other through some of life's really big struggles and some transitions in my life, and it's been really amazing to have her by my side. And she introduced me to this system, and it's been really great to be able to meet some of the amazing sisters that she's had over the years and to be able to become a part of it. And that's kind of why I wanted to do these videos and to be able to introduce all of you to the special people like TIffany. So that's why I wanted to talk about pageant prep and pageant weekend. So TIffany, so how was pageant prep different this year than 2018?
Well, of course, there was COVID, and so that was a challenge because I feel like mental health is at an all-time low, which you and I have both talked about. And then, you know, my children weren't in school. They were all at home with me, so navigating the homeschooling aspect and pageant prep, trying to do all the things and not having my own time, but kind of just also seeing the blessings in that, you know, kind of pulling back and coming back to the family unit was a blessing, family dinners and things like that. The challenge for me was just finding my own time and having that time for me to just like breathe and, you know, our mental health breaks that you and I always talk about, like getting up and writing in your gratitude journal, praying, you know, having your own exercise time and just taking those few minutes a day for ourselves. So that was my challenge. So it was like waking up earlier and things like that to kind of have my me time. And you and I had also talked about previously how we knew that, you know, if God had made this plan for you and I to be Miss and Mrs. together, that it was going to be a challenge because a lot of our charity work was going to be done through social media. But we also spoke about how, you know, right now with COVID and mental health being at an all-time low and that being something that's important to us, we knew that our time could be now, and it may just look different than previous, title holders years. So I'm blessed because I feel like our platforms are needed right now more than ever, if that makes sense.
100%. I'm glad that you said that. So I'll go back to talk about my pageant prep in a second because I want to like jump on and talk about that. I think that he's just going to be part of our video. I love it. Say hi. Hi, buddy. I think that you and I went from talking, I don't know, a couple times a week to talking 8 times a day during it wasn't just about pageant prep, it was about, you know, and
sorry,
it's okay. And
talking, we're recorded, okay? This is on a special thing. No, they won't leave you alone. Sorry.
Okay. And what do you need to get through today? And what are the what can I do to help you? And you got me through like some of life's biggest struggles. And like I remember sitting on my aunt's porch in Texas during quarantine, crying and thinking that I wasn't going to be able to do the pageant. And for the viewers out there, I broke my foot in the middle.
It was a hard time during COVID. I feel like it was like a chain of unlucky events that happened.
There was a lot of things that happened to affect mental health, and then I was focusing so much on physical health as an outlet, but also for pageant prep. And then I broke my foot, and I found myself sitting in a swing at my aunt's house, just surrounded by family and love, but unable to even walk. And I realization on the phone with Tiffany that this was God letting the air out of my tires. And learn to slow down and rest and prioritize and focus on what's important. And we were having this conversation, and I was like, is that God telling me that I should take the year? And then it was like, no, this is actually, you need to prioritize and figure out what is important, and what is important is having that impact.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like you are like such a good spirit because you have a really tough story. Your life story hasn't been the easiest walk. But what amazes me about you, Courtney, is that you take those trials and you kind of flip those and you use that to propel yourself forward and to kind of be an example to other people that if I can overcome mental health struggles, then so can you. And I think right now that's very, very important that we all come together and kind of not be afraid of the stigma and fight against that stigma of mental health, because I know personally I've had my own mental health struggles, as you know, and I think that, you know, it's time to step up and share and just let people know you're not alone. So I commend you for that.
Thank you. And a plug, Tiffany has too, and we will be sharing her story in a similar video on my outreach initiatives page, Hope for Invisible Wounds, in the coming week. I do story healing, and I'm excited Tiffany has offered to share. That's not what we're doing today, but it'll be, I'm excited. It was her first time sharing, so we won't go into that right now, but I'm glad that she's willing to do that.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I really do. This has been fun.
So back to pageant prep for me, I just wanted to bring it back to pageants. Quarantine kind of took, like I said, it took me off my game. I went from going to SoulCycle every single morning, and I often talk about how indoor cycling is kind of like my mental health. SoulCycle is like a combination of meditation and physical, and I kept my body in that competition state because it was my mental outlet. And
right.
of a sudden, here I am without being able to go to that. We're all running to the refrigerator 5 times more a day because that's what.
Oh yeah. And you know, as a life coach, I know that we call it buffering. It's when we're trying to deal with our emotions through different things, and we all do it, you know. But it's just important to kind of realize like that it's happening, and you know, just be aware of it. So it's totally normal, totally normal.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, I'm gonna run, and then I broke my foot. And,
oh my god!
And I just couldn't cope, and so I think. Having people like Tiffany, like my family, who could surround me was really important. But I actually, having conversations with Darla, our director, was really, and she really helped bring it in. And like, she said, you know, like, only God knows what this year is going to give us. And it's like responsibility to like figure out the year and make it your year. And what it is laid out for you. And that was like, it really resonated with me. Like, who's to say that you're even going to win? And who's to say that you can make what it is? Like, you can win in any normal year and not make the most of it as you would in a pandemic. And it just really resonated. And it was like, if it's God's will, then that's what we're going to do.
That's exactly right. And I really appreciate you shouting me out, but you have been that same kind of person in my life, you know. I mean, I know I've called you and, you know, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I feel like, you know, this is X, Y, and Z is happening and it's overwhelming right now with everything going on in the world. And you've always been there to just kind of like get behind me and say like, you know what, we're going to do this. So, and Darla's just been amazing too. She always puts everything in perspective and I love that about her. And I think that's, I mean, like I said, I don't know any different. I know that you've competed in different systems and I haven't. But I think that she's truly an amazing director, and I think that she's one of the best. And I've heard amazing things about her from, you know, like not only my own experience, but from other women who have competed in all different systems. So I feel like we're really blessed with that.
I mean, I've never experienced a director that everyone she meets, the sponsor, the judges, the local contestants, the title holder, like anyone she touches, she's just that light. I was like, this woman, and I'm like, how do I keep her in my life?
And I feel like she just looks at us as we're like all her girls. No matter what you place in the pageant, that doesn't matter to her. She values the person. She sees that we're all queens in our own way and that we all have our own stories and we're all valuable. So I really love that about her.
It's a special place and a special thing to be a part of the Virginia organization. Plain and simple.
I agree.
So, I mean, I guess, what are your last words? Like, what do you, like, how would you encourage someone who's never competed in a pageant and they stumbled upon this video or upon this page and they were like, I might be interested. What would you tell them?
I would say to stop living in your comfort zone, because I have a story. Oh, hold on one second.
There you go.
You know, I have a story behind why I originally started, and I was actually motivated by my daughter who has a learning disability. And so I'm sitting there giving her a pep talk and building her up and telling her how much like her father and I believe in her and how she needs to believe in herself. And she kind of like threw it back in my face. She's like, I do, mommy. You know, do you believe in yourself? And at that moment in time, Courtney, I feel like when we have kids, we think we're going to teach them, but she was teaching me in turn. I was, you know, living a very comfortable lifestyle, like helping my husband run his business and, you know, dabbling my own interests a little bit. But I was just living very comfortably. I was being a mother and I wasn't doing anything per se for myself. And I feel like pageantry is such a great tool to help better yourself and push yourself out of your comfort zone. And the best thing ever that's come out of this is modeling community service to my children. I am being a true example to them on how to have a servant's heart and go out and serve our community. We can preach that all we want, but until we're stepping out and we're showing our children how to be brave and how to step out of your comfort zone and how to serve others, I really don't think they learn it until they see somebody that they trust modeling that. So that's what it's been for me, and I would encourage other women to get involved for those same reasons.
I love that. So I love that, and actually I wanted
But
to.
What made you?
So
What made you
So I've done pageants most of my life. And I took like a pageant retirement for a while when I was struggling with my mental health after my dad passed away. And I started recompeting about 3 years ago. And I was struggling through some transitions just recently. And I decided through talking with you and Darla that I wanted to reinstate who I was as Miss, and have purpose over my pain, and really just kind of like a purpose in the community and with Hope for Invisible Wounds, and really just kind of have a mission, like a mission-driven heart.
I love that. I think that's amazing, and I love you. I mean, we've had a great run. We're bonded, so I'm your biggest cheerleader, girl. I'm so excited for your year.
But I had a question, and really fast, like I know we've gone for a while, but you talked a lot about like driving women to community service and showing that to your children. And I wanted to know about what your first few weeks have been like. I know talking to you offline that you've been doing a lot of stuff, and I would love for you to share about that.
Yes, I've just been getting more involved in the community and kind of building partnerships with different charities that I didn't necessarily know existed, or if I knew about them, I didn't know in detail, how I could help as Miss Virginia. So the Samaritan House, I've partnered up with them, the Battered Women's Shelter, and I just think they're doing amazing things. And then today I had the honor of meeting with it's called the Gentlemen's Association of Virginia, and they have done some really amazing things for people who are suffering through ALS. And also kids, they've built a lot of things in the community that are inclusive of everybody, every child that has a disability. So whether it's camp or playground. So that's been really interesting. But also I've been in my support groups online and kind of just like partnering with people that are suffering. Like for me, interstitial cystitis is a huge thing that needs to be brought into the awareness. A lot of people don't know what it is. It's a severe bladder disease. Mm-hmm. That they say that there's no cure for, and I've experienced it and I have overcome that. So I want women to know that you can overcome these things. And I've, as you and I've talked about mental health, I had postpartum depression and anxiety with my third child. So I've been working with mental health advocates to kind of bring awareness to that. And then most recently today, I, dropped off cards to oncology patients because my mother is battling breast cancer currently, and I want to be a light to those who are struggling through a difficult diagnosis. So those are just a few things that I'm working on. A lot of it just looks different because of COVID, but I feel like we're still making a difference, and maybe even in some ways more than, maybe even more than a normal year.
Yeah, and she has and she eats and sleeps and is prepping for nationals. No big deal.
But what about you, Courtney? I want to hear about what you've been up to.
So I've been working in Hope for Invisible Wounds. That's kind of like my normal daily work, besides my day job. I have partnered with Standstone Care, which is in Northern Virginia. They just opened a rehab facility for the youth here to get into co-occurring disorders of people turning to opioids and alcohol to deal with mental health addiction and addiction. And we actually just had a call today to launch their new facility. We're doing a virtual open house next week.
Wow, awesome.
And then I also toured the Arlington Food Assistance Center this afternoon, and we're gonna do a online food drive, so people can donate money to help people who are in need of food assistance in the local Northern Virginia area due to COVID. And then I'm working on some figurative stuff that I'm going to be announcing soon for Hopeful Invisible Wounds to kind of connect communities across the state, mental health needs. And I've been talking to you about it, but I'm not ready to.
That's really exciting. That is really exciting. I can't wait to find out more about this.
Like you start
doing such big things, you know. It's such an off year, but you're doing amazing things. And I've told you this before. I just feel like this year we were made for this year. For one reason or another, I just think, you know, if we can touch lives, especially with mental health when people need it the most, then we've done our job as Miss and Mrs. Virginia.
I agree, and I like that our platforms align so well together that we can kind of partner in our goals.
I do too. Well, thank you so much for having me, Courtney. Is there anything else that we didn't? Did we cover everything for now?
No, just come back and talk to me again, and we will maybe we'll come back at right after nationals and talk about how the experience went and share with all the viewers. And thank you guys for watching. And I will be back soon with another one of our title holders to talk about all of our experiences.
I love it. Thank you so much, Courtney. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night.